Friendship, laughter, anxiety, competition, joy, chaos are only a few words to describe the cookout. As the event has evolved over the years, it's only gotten better. From the people to the golf to the food. The municipals are growing and are doing a great job staying true to their core. This was my second year attending and looking forward to many more. It's something I look forward to throughout the year, not only the golf, but the people I get to see from year to year, and the luxury of making new friends. Everyone is there knowing it's going to be a blast, including myself, and I want to personally thank Municipals for another great event.
How hard did you push it till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
Pals, this is your boy Big C and Ashton and John and Troy. We're all here. It's the boys. We talking the cookout. It's gonna be a good time tonight. Unfortunately, it was the fourth straight loss for the hot dogs, so that was not. We'll get into that. Not really stoked about that, but we'll get deep into how the cookout turned out. If you have not heard of the cookout, this is your first time tuning in to any of our cookout recap pods. The cookout is our annual Ryder Cup style tournament that we hold at Soule Park. It starts on a Friday with a practice round, great dinner to follow, releasing matchups and everything for the weekend, followed by alt shot in the morning, 4-ball in the afternoon. One thing we'll get into and kind of explain more, probably the thing everybody loves, it might be the newest love for everybody, is a Muni Madness at the end of the day on Saturday. On top of the cake, what makes it all wrap up and end up being the best weekend of most of our years is match play on Sunday at Soule Park in the morning. So, we're going to get into it. Before we do that, usually us that travel out of town, we go and play courses that we don't really get access to in our local area, extend our stay a little bit down in SoCal. So Ashton, tell the folks where you and some of the fellas ended up before practice round on Friday.
Yeah, good to be on with you guys. I feel like I'm now caught up on sleep. I think the first 10 to 14 days after the cookout, I was kind of running on fumes. So it's nice to have gotten a little bit of sleep and talking to you guys about this because it's one of my, like I said, I'm obligated to say I'm sure my wedding weekend will be better, but outside of my soon to be wedding, I think this was the weekend of the year. We played Rustic Canyon. 12 of us, or 8 of us this year. I think last year it was 12. We've done a podcast on Rustic. I think Rustic is great. I know it's kind of not, I believe, Troy and John, it's not exactly y'all's favorite per se, but the way I think about it is one time a year, it's really fun to play. Might piss y'all off. I think it's probably a better golf course than Soule Park, but I think Soule Park is infinitely more fun. But I just really look forward every year to
Chris couldn't handle it. He's out. He's like, nah, fuck that take.
God, we got to leave this in. Holy shit.
No,
wow.
just real quick. Yeah. We are leaving it in? Okay.
Well, I'll just keep going. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, I'll really quick. This isn't about that, but I agree with you.
Okay,
on
good.
That take about Rustic, and so Rustic was made to be maybe not a championship, but it was made to be a pretty stern test.
Yeah.
Soule is a renovation that Gil pretty much took shit and turned it into gold.
Yeah.
But I don't think the aim for that course was ever to be the toughest test. Where I think Rustic actually, especially having Shackelford's input and stuff like that, I think he wanted to do a lot of shit from Riviera and all the other Golden Age courses that kind of influence on that. So I agree with that. Having that much more influence on it, of course, it's going to end up a quote unquote better course. But Soule's
Yeah.
where it's at. Come on,
I'd
Soule's where it's
agree.
at. Come on.
Yeah, I'd agree that it's probably a better test of golf. It's just that the vibe sucks. And
Yeah, it's
I
almost
think it
everything
gets- I
surrounding
think
the
it-
course that brings it down.
Wait, can you
That,
expand
and
on that? I'm curious because I've only played there a couple of times. What do y'all mean?
the staff is not friendly at all. Like, not friendly is probably even being generous.
Yeah. Don't really make it
Like,
seem like they want you to
historically.
play the
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
That's how I feel at Presidio, so I totally
No,
get it.
very similar vibe. Like,
Presidio's very like, yeah, they're like, give us your $105 and we're gonna ride your ass on the second hole even though there's a backup. It's like, what are we doing?
yeah. So that, and then I think it's overhyped a little bit. I think, like, I get it. I think proximity to LA creates a bigger hype over that golf course.
You know, I like Rustic. I don't think I'd want to play it every day, but it's the kind of place that I love. I love starting the cookout there for me because when I go to the practice round at Soule, it's like, oh wow, this is much easier. And like literally both of the last 2 years in the practice round, I've shot one over after kind of getting like really, really tested at Rustic. So that's good to know. Big, where did you play?
So Troy was gracious enough to get us out to Satakoy.
Oh, is that a private track or is that a public track, Chris? Where's that?
Private.
Well, you know, it's pretty private. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal, but
Well, Troy's done some work for him, and so they were gracious enough. You know, Troy walks around there like a king. He's just giving handshakes, kissing babies, like
He's the mayor of
doing
Satakoy.
it all.
Private pal Troy.
You know, and we had a great lunch, and what a spectacular course. I know we're public golf guys, but you know, I will say that's a phenomenal track. Really, really fun to play.
Better than Rustic.
definitely better than Rustic.
Definitely better than Rustic.
Sure. You know, I'm just just little public golfer here trying to pay my $45 to.
Just a little hint for you next year, Ashton, if you're thinking of where to play for a practice round.
Yeah.
Hint, come out to Satakoy.
Oh yeah, you'll get the crap beat in, and then you'll feel like Soule Park is easy peasy.
Yeah.
I mean, I just said that I did that though. Like I just said that I did
No,
that.
Satakoy will beat you up one.
But at a better course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Billy Bell, so it kind of feels like the same bones. So that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
More aggressive or more aggressive landscape, I would say.
Yeah, but we had a good time. It was me, Chris, Rick, and then my buddy Neil. That's part of Locale, and we had a really nice time. Nobody was out there. Private life, just cruised. It was great.
And I will say, Troy, I got to give you credit. Like this is super not like it's weird. I'm saying giving you credit. This is both not my vibe, and I wouldn't want one. But I do think like I'm gonna give you credit. You're the first person ever who I've heard, kind of with like the gin transfusions, which I think is. I know that because I gave Chris a big hug when he got to the house, and I was like, "Wow,
You smell like trees.
woo!" I'm like, "Wow, it's like I'm gonna call you Rosemary Boy." Like, holy cow! Like that was a rosemary bun on that hot dog. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's actually, we got to shout out our buddy Landon. That's all his doing. He turned me onto that a while ago, and I was like, because I don't like gin, and I really like gin and transfusions. So that's my new drink.
Love
Drink
it.
them all weekend.
Delightful. Cool. Where should we go now, boys? Should we kind of talk about, I guess to go chronologically, should we kind of talk about, Friday and kind of go through the event together and kind of talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about the cookout reggae fest.
The Canadian
2025.
cookout.
The cookout. It was really cold. We grabbed our toques.
Team maple syrup for the win.
This is such an unhinged recap. But
Yeah, well, I mean
good.
that's
good.
what it is. We're actually working for our listeners. Like we have long said, we never fire up the mics early enough. Like we have like 20 minutes of like we're all like laughing and it's really funny, and then we turn it on and it turns formal. So we're trying to just we have an agenda. Well, I mean not
This is
really
a feature,
tonight.
not a bug.
Yeah, like we're trying to like riff a little bit instead of being too. I say we have an agenda. We kind of don't, but like we know what the event was. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, I guess to start off, so I guess a couple shout outs. If you're in Ventura, John, this was before John was a friend. I reached out to John. We started the morning at Prospect Coffee, delightful coffee roaster in downtown Ventura. Pretty much everyone had multiple coffees, multiple pastries. I think I got like a flat white and like a some kind of bread there, and then I got like a scone and like another like a cold brew to go. So if you're in downtown Ventura and need some coffee, definitely hit up Prospect Coffee Roasters. Then we played the practice round. I think we had 24, I believe, of 36 come, which is always fun. I think, people might have little money games. I know me, Chris, Jack, and Hussey, we kind of played for the marker we have. But that's really just kind of people seeing each other. I think we teed off around 10 a.m. And then, again, another shout out to John. It's almost like you live there and know what's going on. Like, the big thing that we've heard feedback on, and we take people's feedback, like, really seriously. And people are just like, it'd be fun to have a cookout component, but we don't have the time, space, bandwidth to be able to host a cookout, grill. So I reached out to John and I was like,
Store
hey,
cold meat, raw meat.
right. I mean, literally, we were like, where could we store frozen hamburgers? And then we're doing it at dark. It wouldn't be good. We got to make sure Kenny gets fed, even though Kenny wasn't there. We got to make sure Kenny's got a full belly. Full belly for Kenny.
Hashtag more chicken.
More chicken. Always got to feed that guy.
We had no chicken this year, Kenny.
Yeah, we had no chicken. Yeah. But John suggested lo-fi barbecue. Steve was awesome. I kind of worked with him 6 months in advance, kind of told us what to do. We picked everything. I think we did pulled pork, brisket, mac and cheese, dinner rolls, and salad. And then we were literally going to do this at the park straight up. It was like, and he was like, well, do you want to do it at the park? And I was like, I don't know. Do you have a suggestion? So we went to Ojai Valley Brewing, which was delightful. Small shop, very, very kind of like intimate, local place. They also had wine. What do you say?
Great. Tap wine.
Yeah, they had wine. They had a lot of options. And so I think what was great was, there was a ton of food. Everyone got their fill. Really, really tasty as a Southerner. Like 10 out of 10 pulled pork, mustard base sauce, like killed it. And then we did kind of the pairings and everything. John, do you want to kind of talk about, like the pairings party and kind of what you saw through the lens that day?
Yeah, John, bring it live and direct. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
It's all about the world. The world is entertainment. The world is entertainment.
You can't get this on Spotify.
As the speaker's like, it's like, I can't even hear what this song is, sir. It's too loud.
Sorry to our listeners that are wearing headphones.
Seriously. Ashton really wanted to bring you into that moment. But yeah, so like Ashton was saying.
Sorry, Pax.
Yeah, I know. Good luck with that, Pax. Yeah, like Ashton was saying, the practice round was super mellow, and then I want to say we pretty much had, maybe like a handful of people who weren't at the pairings party.
Yeah.
Like maybe like two or
Maybe
three
5.
that I can think of off the top of my head. Ojai Valley Brewery, super chill place, really cool outdoor section. The weather was perfect. I want to say maybe Friday was the best weather we had all weekend.
By far.
Which was like, I think probably a good thing considering, we were eating outside. Everyone was coming in. You wanted like the warmest, like most welcoming atmosphere possible. And Steve at Lo-Fi provided that with the food, Ojai Valley with the drinks, and there was a DJ there, a reggae-centric DJ. The appearance maybe didn't match the discography. We'll say I want to put that as...
He's whiter than I am.
As the only non-Anglo in this chat, I want to try and be polite to you guys. But let's just say, it didn't... The image, something was off with the brand. Something was off with the branding.
Guys that look like me shouldn't be doing reggae.
And guys that look like you definitely shouldn't be trying to pull off reggae Jamaican accents.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Which is
hey, real quick. I just want to call out Chris Hussey. If you listen to last week's podcast, him like standing for this like Italian guy who's like reggae and saying like that is fraudulent, Hussey. Like eat it. Like no, like we are not standing for cultural appropriation. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was, but keep going, John. Okay. That guy.
So I will say though, his music, his DJ skills were good. They were solid. Like he kept the vibes going. Um,
Well, I don't know about that. The first song he played, I think only dogs could hear the screeching noise that it started with.
I got there a little later than you, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, as soon as he came
I was
on,
just
all of
happy.
us were
I was
standing
just
around
happy
going,
that I heard only one Sublime song all night. That's
True.
all. I just wanted. I was just hoping to get through a night without hearing any. But just hearing one from a reggae DJ in Ventura County
John,
is.
the
I'm very
jams were
happy.
straight from Jamaica, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
No SoCal beats.
yeah. You can't get
Yeah,
this on
he let us
Spotify,
know.
man. But yeah, so he gave Ashton and Chris the mic though. Gave us the floor, which is very gracious.
A little early. Like I didn't
think
know we were on
unexpectedly
stage.
to both parties.
Yeah, and it was. I thought it was pretty entertaining because we were announcing the pairings, but we were not the only. It wasn't a private event. There's still very much a lot of public, a lot of tables, picnic tables outside, just with people just chilling, wondering why the hell these two guys were up on the mic,
30 some odd dudes
holding
just took
holding a
over the
giant
brewery.
grill spatula. Um, but yeah, it was really cool. And then like announcing the pairings is always cool because I had a hard time I was able to keep a secret, but it was really hard to try and not like hint to certain people about their pairings, about who they'd be playing with, who I would be like, who they'd be playing against. And I think we did a really good job. The six of us really did a good job of curating those matches and curating those pairings. I think that played a huge role into how much fun everyone had because it was a good mix of playing with people you knew, but also getting to mingle with not only people that you maybe only see once or twice a year or you only see at this place, but people who it was their first time at the event. And to see, people who had been there for all 4 years be like super, super welcoming, like to some of the people who it was their first time playing, their first year playing, and like hearing some of the people, like I forget who said it, but after Sunday, after everything was wrapping up, it was their first time there, and I just heard over my shoulder say like, "Oh, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. This is fucking awesome. Everybody here is great." And it's like that's exactly what you want to hear. So I think just that kind of stems all the way from how carefully we tried to curate this, I guess if you want to call it experience, or curate this weekend for everyone involved and try and make it fun. I mean, obviously make it competitive and everybody wants to win, but also just try and keep the focus on just fun and camaraderie. And especially, obviously top of mind, I forget if it was mentioned at the top, but this is obviously has turned into an event that's to commemorate our friend that we lost, Pat. And so just keeping that and keeping the memories that, because I only had a couple memories, short memories with him from our abandoned trip. I wasn't able to form as deep friendship as you guys did, but that was more than enough time for me to form a very deep friendship with him. And so getting to see everybody who he knew, everybody whose lives that he touched, getting them all together once a year to kind of commemorate that and to just have that good energy around, it was really good. I mean, it's definitely my favorite weekend of the year for sure. So getting back on track, the pairings were really good. Everyone always gets, the oohs and ahs from the crowd every time you announce a matchup, a certain matchup going on. So that was always fun. And yeah, and the food was amazing. I'd had lo-fi barbecue, I think, once or twice before. I think they're working on like a brick and mortar shop in the future, but mainly they just do pop-ups and catering events, and it's just amazing to see. Totally family owned and operated. It's amazing to see all the hard work that they put in, and the quality of food that they have is unreal. So I'm really happy that my suggestion of that turned out as well as it did. So Troy, I guess we'll kick it to you for the morning. Should we kick it for morning alt shot?
Yeah.
Alt shot. So probably outside of Muni Madness, I would say alt shot's like always my favorite thing. We never get to really play alt shot. B, the fact that Keith is insane enough to let us do 8-some alt shot. So we only have 4 balls in the air for everybody that's like freaking out hearing the word 8-some. It's only technically 4 players playing golf.
We finish under 4 hours.
We always finish under 4 hours every time. my cousin actually happened to be the group directly behind us, and they couldn't keep up. And we got done. He goes, "You guys were flying." So, just as a prerequisite to any you know haters out there that think we're taking over the golf course, but yeah, alt shot's just like always the highlight because it's such a different game. Obviously, it's match play. We don't do strokes. We try and pair everybody fairly even for the pairings to where like there isn't going to be a landslide because there's not strokes. It's not it's not a scratch guy that's playing a 20 handicap or whatever. Um, but like it's interesting because you'll have pairings that like all of a sudden just click. You'll have pairings that takes them a while to click. Um, the pressure is totally different. You're now hitting a ball that somebody else has to take, and guess what? It could suck. Like you could put him, you could go OB, you could put him behind a tree, and it's all how you work together. So myself and Jack, we were paired up against a tough group that I have always seemed to run into, Alex Wong and Chris Hussey. But we had a good match. It was down pretty much to the wire. We pretty much on 17 we had some opportunities and we just squandered it and then lost on 18. So that was a bummer. But again, the match was good. It was solid. Both of us played. Both groups played pretty well. And it's just fun to have there's just guys like circling the greens. Everybody's talking. Everybody's trying to figure out an angle or a strategy or whatever. So yeah, I'd say probably the highlight for me every year is alt shot. Like any chance anybody gets to do it, especially with 8 people, do it.
Yeah, and I had a really exciting match too. I was paired with JD. Shout out to the Municipals golf dad, officially. I was looking forward to it when we were doing the pairings because I knew Big C's prior experience with JD as an alt shot partner, and him being a burger now, I kind of wanted to. I wanted JD to redeem himself because, well, redeem himself in quotes because Big C kind of throws him under the bus. But anyways.
Hey, JD, quick question. Why do you fucking stink?
Hey, JD is self-explanatory, the shittiest scratch golfer out there.
Okay.
You have a lifetime membership on Team Burger if you'd like it.
Yeah. Sounds like it. But anyways, I playing with someone like JD, as good as he is and as far as he hits it, I just knew having him as a partner would be very fun because I'd be playing Soule from some places that I'm not used to playing, and it might unlock something for me. And we had a really good match. We played against Dash and actually JD's homie Nate, who's I believe a 1 or 1.5 or something. So it was a really pretty close match strokes wise as far as teams are concerned. And then really up and down roller coaster match. We went 3 up after 3, and then they ended up tying it. And then I think they went 1 up on 8. And then from then on, neither team got more than 1 up, I think. And then they got up 2. Yeah, they got Dormy on us, actually. And then JD and I actually had to birdie 17 and 18 to tie the match. JD hit maybe the longest drive I've ever seen on 18, but unfortunately he hit it down the left side. And he cleared the trees and the mound that people usually end up rolling up onto if they hit it up the left. He cleared that and bounced off the cart path directly behind the mound, 30 feet in the air and to the left. We end up finding the ball in the tall fescue. It's literally like less than 2 feet into the shit, like less than 2 feet from just being in the rough and at least having a swing. They're in the fairway. We're kind of deciding what to do, and I kind of just tell him, like, let's just take an unplayable. He had hit it far enough down there that I knew I was still going to have a short enough club that I could go for the green and we could make birdie. And so I just said, let's just take an unplayable. Give me a good lie. I think I had like 158 or something. Hit a 7-iron. Kind of slung it, or had to kind of sling it around this tree because I didn't realize until after we took the drop that I was directly behind a tree. But hit a pretty solid shot. Hit a pretty solid shot to like 11 feet. Oh, and I was hitting the hay on my backswing. That was the other thing we didn't factor on the drop. Yeah, like as I'm taking it back, I'm like, oh shit. But hit it on the green, and then JD like clutched up and hit a putt center cut from about 10, 11 feet out, and it's like everything you could. I mean, obviously you want to win all your matches, but it was everything you could hope for to get within a match. Like it was back and forth. Both teams were playing pretty well, and also both teams were kind of going. Both teams kind of went through a slump at some point during the round, and then both teams managed to turn it around, and it just made it really, really exciting. And to echo Troy's point, it's like the best thing besides meeting. As far as like the proper competition goes, it's my favorite part of the whole weekend. And also just being in a group with 8 people is always really fun too, because then in between the holes you're just shooting the shit, and it's just like
there's also just like
having a little garden
energy.
party.
Yeah, there's like a total energy on each hole. Like you have 8 bodies, everybody's locked in.
It's like you have a gallery.
Yeah, but it's different because it's like everybody's playing, like everybody's in it, and especially when you get to the greens, it feels different. Like it feels drastically different.
Yeah, I played against Ashton in alt shot. Ashton and Nick versus me and Cyrus, and I'm gonna tell you, Cyrus is a newer golfer that has a lot of athletic power, and I found places on that golf course that I didn't know you could actually hit it from. I didn't know that there was a mega line on 14 where you just hit it over all the trees.
His club face was open like 17 degrees. It was unbelievable.
You hit it over all the trees on the right-hand side, almost to the tee box, and then you're left with 110 in.
Anti-left, Ashton. Anti-left.
Yeah.
It was jarring. He hit it so hard, and the face was so open. It was unbelievable.
It turned out okay.
No, I think you guys birdied that.
Ended up winning that hole.
Yeah, Nick and I like banged off the tree, and that was not good. Yeah, but the funny thing is, we were the only group that didn't get to play 8 because we have kind of had an odd number. So it's interesting. We started off so. We had a very different experience. Like, I'm with you guys. I think, like, I love Muni Madness, but I think the 8 Sims alt shot is so fun because it's this weird dynamic where you're, like, to your point, Troy, you're super locked in, but then you kind of lose track of who's on whose team. Somebody makes, like, a long birdie putt, and you're like, hell yeah! And you're like, oh, actually, fuck you! You know, it's like, you kind of lose track of what's going on, but it's really just so fun to have those two things that are, like, things that we've all spent so many hours on a golf course, and these are not things you're allowed to do. And it's so fun to have 8 people, and I think it's also the perfect way for people to get to know each other because you're getting a bigger dynamic. So we had a different experience. It was just 4 of us, and it was kind of nice, though, because Chris and I were talking about it. It just kind of gave us time to hang out because the public group ahead of us, Tough Scene, was like 5 holes behind.
Crazy slow.
And yeah, we only had 2 balls, but like it was egregious. Like they were taking forever, like very much like a walk in the park, which is fine, but not when you're the 3rd group off of the day. But it kind of allowed us to like be in our process, and I'll talk. I mean, you know, I talked to Chris a bunch, but I don't get to spend a ton of time with him in person, and so we had a very different experience. But it just kind of allowed us to catch it, hang out. You had minutes in between shots, and just kind of. It meant we got on the green. We got to really kind of be in our process. And, Nick and I, we've done, across our events, Nick and I have done alt shot 4 times. We're 4-0. And we just kind of love being in the process together. And it kind of gave us time and space to do that. So we had a different experience. I definitely prefer 8 Sims, but it's such, to your point, Troy, for the formal golf, it's the most fun. And the other thing, too, anecdotally, I'm curious if y'all felt the same way. We could have looked this up on Unknown. I feel like the matches were so close this year. There was every match came to like 17. Like me and Chris's match came down to 17. Y'all's match me and Troy's match
maybe
17.
One blowout per session. Like one match that was kind of like more than like 4-3 or 5-4, but otherwise,
Because I know
every
for
other match
me,
was like pretty
my
close.
3 matches came to 17, 17, and 18, and that's never happened before.
Yeah,
Like you had to
the
be like
box
locked
the
in.
box score doesn't really show how the weekend went, just because it was full points, not halves, and it went down to 17-18, lean towards burgers, but like
Or it
it
could have gone
literally could have
either way.
flipped
Totally.
very, very quickly. Like it could have been like, so it was much tighter than the box score showed. But I think that's kind of how we go about the pairings, and we want them to get down to 17-18. We want them to be a battle throughout the entire round. I think all three of my matches went down to 17 or 18. Um, so, I think it makes it so much more fun. Nobody loves getting fucking blown out. Like, nobody enjoys that.
And even being on the winning side, honestly, because like if a match finishes super early and then you're just kind of playing it out or whatever, it's like your mind wanders, you kind of lose focus, and also I feel like you're less likely to like mingle within your group because you're just kind of la di da or whatever. But I do think the special point of making it the first session that we do, uh, because to your point, Ashton, having that sort of not force, but it's like because you're only playing one ball and you're both responsible for it, you like it makes you a little more involved in the like team aspect of it, as opposed to where best ball you each play your own balls, be like, all right, I'm gonna hit this and I'll see you on the green. Or with this, it's like you guys are kind of living and dying with each other's shot, and as having it as the first session of the event, that puts it in a that just creates a good environment for, like you said, the mingling, getting people camaraderie. You're like building memories. Someone hits a clutch putt and you're there on your team or something, or you had a recovery shot. Like that's something you're going to remember and like keep going back to and referring to over the years. And so yeah, all shots the best.
You also get to be the fan of like another match that's going on.
Yeah,
So like
totally.
you're in your match, and then there's also another match that's happening. So there are two other people that like their outcome is affects you, and it's fun. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of another fun thing, because it's like you kind of care about theirs, and like you want to help them where you can, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's just a neat experience, because we just never get to do it.
Yeah.
No.
Then what we did, we had lunch and kind of hung out for a little bit, but that was pretty quick. And then we went right back out to best ball. Ashton, you want to run us through that?
Yeah, well, I think it's worth noting, again, we've only been doing this for our 4th year. I feel like historically, the morning is always spooky at Soule. It's like we have pictures a couple years ago where, I mean, literally it was like we're hitting balls into the fog. But then usually Saturday afternoon post lunch, the vibe flips. People put on shorts. It's like make sure to put on sunscreen. That didn't happen this year. And there was actually a point. I know when I was packing, I like literally I was about to walk out the door in the morning, and like I decided to throw a pair of pants in my bag, and I wore those pants the entire weekend because it was just that weather. So like to give you context, there was a point, probably the 10th or 11th hole, when like straight up I was like, I'm like kind of starting to lose feeling in my toes and my golf shoes. Like this is not fun. Like, and I was like, if this gets worse, like we're probably not going to do Muni Madness. And it was that feeling of like, this might not turn out to be as much fun as, I don't know. It's like we go to the week before. This isn't ripping anybody. Y'all were like, 75 degrees, the Soule Park 10, like it's going to be 85 degrees. We're going to be really hot. And it's like, I'm literally like, it's like raining. It's like actually raining, and it's
Listen,
cold.
Ashton, I can only go off the data that I'm given.
It's true.
Weather.com's telling
the models,
me it's gonna be. Yeah.
The models were incorrect, but
I just have the free version. I don't have the premium, so.
I don't got all the radar.
Yeah, I'm still looking at ads.
But the weather was just kind of shit. But I think like what I would say is like it's not a matter of like locked in, right? But I think best ball is what you expect. It's kind of everyone's excited to, as much fun as it is to be able to play all shot. It's really nice to be able to kind of like play your own ball. I don't really have a ton to share. If one of you want to like like expand on it. You know, it's just
No.
my biggest thing was the weather.
I think 4-ball is kind of self-explanatory. It's fun to get
Yeah.
into alt shot and talk about it, but I think most people understand what 4-ball
Yeah,
is.
we do handicaps. Worth noting, we do handicaps for four
We
ball.
do a
80
percentage
or
of
90%.
handicap.
90%,
We
according
do 90%.
USGA.
And so, you take the best score of the 2 balls in your group. It's really fun, especially when you're paired up with somebody that's right around your handicap, playing against other people your handicap, or even playing with somebody that's a little bit better than you. It makes it really fun and competitive because if you're the higher handicap in your group, you end up like you just need to throw out a couple birdies to help out, and it's kind of it makes it to where you don't feel as stressed when you're the low handicap in your group. You feel like you've got all the burden on your shoulders, because you're the guy that needs to score because your handicap pretty much doesn't count too much. But 4-ball is great. I think what really is the best part is, and what everybody's anticipating after 4-ball is Muni Madness.
Notice how Big C just skipped right on by because he played against
Right on
me
by.
in 4-ball, and let's
Yeah,
just
I
say
think
he had a chance to get his. He
matches.
he
I think
had
we're
a sliver of an opening to get his first point, and
because I also
him
need
and
to hear
him and
Ashton
DJ
recap a
Afila
little
just
bit.
kind of let it slip by. Me and my partner Marcus.
Oh my god, DJ! I just realized what you said. It's like, who is that? Shout out to Fabian.
Yeah, Fabes came through. He definitely kept us in it at the beginning, and then I think he fell completely apart, and I had to
his back broke.
hold the glue together at the end.
Yeah.
Which is usually not my strong suit. I'm usually the one that's going to lose a match in my last four holes, and it was completely flipped that day, where I was the one holding it together. But yeah, you put yourself up against the self-proclaimed mayor of Soule Park and guy that plays there.
Not self-proclaimed. I never gave myself that title.
That's
false.
a good point.
That's
You
You
false.
cannot give yourself nicknames.
Okay, not self-proclaimed,
I
but
never gave myself that nickname.
awarded the mayor of Soule Park by others.
Say that's disrespectful. He gives you that nickname, then says you say it after you beat him. It's like that's just revisionist history, Big.
Yeah.
This guy calls himself the mayor.
This guy calls himself the mayor.
What a dick.
Yeah, knock him down a
I don't know
peg.
what the hell's going on here.
I'm going to Satakoy.
He even said he's got a tee box on this course.
Oh
It's
my
not
god.
mine, it's Keith.
Allegedly.
It's Keith.
But on to Muni Madness.
On to Muni Madness. I skipped right over that.
Wait,
Well,
we got to pause. Because Ashton, I played against Ashton. We had a hell of a match.
Oh, okay. Yeah, tell us.
Ashton
The
saved
tree gate?
their ass with
Tree gate. Yeah.
You got to walk us through that.
17, I hit a drive that I pulled a little bit, and it was just looked like it was going to be somewhere over on the right, somewhere over by the trees.
We came back to all square, and it was
Yeah.
game on 17-18.
Yeah, so basically, like, Rick and I got out to a lead, and then they tracked our asses down, and like literally, it's like Rick and I got in the cart on one hole, and it was like the rope was like coming out of our hands, like straight up. Like it was like we had all the momentum early, they had all the momentum late, and we got to 17, and I think we were all square, right, Troy? Is that right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember what Rick and I were both like not really a factor in that hole. I can't remember where we were, but you and Dash were. And so technically you weren't off the tee.
Yeah. Well, so like we go over because like in the practice round, like for me, it's like if I hit the mega pole, it's almost like I mean, this is stupid. You probably shouldn't name it the trees, but for me, like there, as Chris knows, there's the driving range net over on the left. So you just want to stay away from that. And so honestly, I just hit a pole that if it goes through the trees, I think in the practice round, I had like 80 yards in. It's like it's not the perfect angle because the bunker, but you're having like a lob wedge in for me as a lefty. So I did it again. I just kind of pulled it over there. And we get over there and like the ball is like nowhere to be found. Like it's getting to the point where it's like we're getting close to like, I mean, we don't like count, But like and mentally it's like close to being like, okay, I just gotta like sand out of the hole or take a drop or something. And Rick was like, oh, like I kind of saw the ball like launch a little bit. I'm like, well, what does that mean? And he meant like launch off of like a log or like kind of a little stump. And sure enough, Rick goes, oh man. And I was like, what does that mean? And we walk over, and Troy, we can post this, we can post this part of the recap. But literally, like, the ball is sitting like, the tree's like a Y, and there's like a little hollow in the middle of the Y.
It's like an
And the
Easter
Like a
basket.
3-dimensional Y.
Yeah, it almost looks like a bird's nest,
Yeah.
and the ball is literally sitting in the middle. Troy said it best. Like if I just tried to like stick my club in and scoop it out, I would have. There wasn't enough room to even be able to just like flick it out and hit it.
Yeah.
And so like we find it, and then literally it was like I took it unplayable, measured out everything, and then I get up and down from 145 yards for par to win the hole.
You hit a hell of a
Um,
shot. You put it to what, 8 feet or something?
Yeah.
Give or take.
And I think
Both
to your
Bash
point,
and I-
I think Rick might have been in the hole. He might have had a par putt, but it was definitely one of those. As we were at the point of the match where like, with the nerves, I was like, if Rick can just like make it where I don't have to be involved, great. And so like he might have made par, but I think he was pretty stoked that like I just made par when we went to the next hole. But it was crazy. It was like one of these like bizarre things where I'm so glad Troy has the picture, because like when we're like, oh, it's in the tree, everyone's like, oh, like it's hard to articulate what in the tree means. And I've never, it's a place where like, if I had that exact same tee shot 100 times, I don't think it ends up in that tree ever again. Bigger sample size, 1,000 times. It does not end up in that, because literally I think if I was
Means
5
like the
feet,
perfect bounce.
I mean, if I was 5 feet away and we have like do the Kobe and just kind of like do like just like launch balls in, I think it bangs around. Like it's too small of a hole to have the. It was a 1 in a million situation, which was kind of just the coup de grace and like a very like back and forth push
yeah,
pull.
we had a gnarly match, and again, to my detriment, it really shows like knowing the rules and playing them to your favor, and you got up and down for par, and like you made a hell of a par and ended up winning the hole because we were kind of in weird spots, and
Yeah, it was crazy.
That really determined the match, like in
Yeah, and also a good reminder. Just like I think about this, like this is gonna sound stupid, but I don't do a good enough job of like tracking my shots, especially on drives. I kind of just like hit them and it's like, oh, that's kind of in the, it's over there somewhere. Like if Rick hadn't noticed the kind of strange hop of how it took, we never would have found it. So it's just like a PSA that like,
hollows of trees.
Yeah, you're not
But-
expecting it to be.
yeah, but he like
Sure
noticed the
has.
bounce. So it's a good example of like, hey, just like take, don't stay on the tee box forever, but maybe just like
Pay attention.
pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
Okay,
definitely a surreal moment.
on to Muni Madness. It was just too good of a story just to fly past.
Yeah,
with you.
no. That is like one of my favorite pictures of the whole weekend is Ashton standing next to the trees.
Yeah, the reason I didn't get into our match is because I'm still upset about the bounces that Marcus Parham fucking got in our match. Like, I've never
Everybody's mad about
boneyard,
Marcus
man.
Parham's
I've
matches.
never gotten
That's
seen
Marcus's
somebody get
boneyard.
more lucky in my life.
All I know is he's gonna listen to this and tell me to fuck off. All I know is Marcus Parham, Fabian Contreras, Sunday singles next year has to happen. Has to happen. So like we're in the Santa Barbara airport and Fabian's
we'll
like, yeah, no, one more thing. One more thing about this. Like, whoa, I got one more thing. I'm like, yo, whoa, man, like, whoa. Sorry, Fabian.
Oh. Muni
Oh, okay, I
Madness.
thought you were about to spill the tea right there, but
No.
okay.
Behind the paywall.
Save that for the Patreon.
We are friends. We are friends. We are friends.
Muni Madness, our favorite. Basically, we create holes on the fly, playing as 36 individuals. Birdies are the only thing that matter. Holes carry over if there are 2 birdies on a hole, and it is an absolute shit show, fun extravaganza. Like, music blasting, guys drinking, people doing their thing, balls flying all over the place, people almost getting hit in the face. We don't try to do this, but it actually almost happened. It was scary as hell.
Well, wait. In fairness,
Cue my video.
That was it. I was saying this is important. We that happened year one because we were moving too fast. We've made efforts to make sure it's safe. I'm just gonna out him because I love him. Like Adam Goldstein just cold shanked one. Like that.
Yeah.
Like to be clear, we're not like being reckless.
No.
It's just when you have a line of people and one person goes straight hosel.
You're as likely to get hit by a ball in a driving range.
Yes.
We
guys
basically all
that
line up.
are
And
weary.
when somebody shanks it,
Yes.
heads up. Yeah.
Usually, if guys are weary about hitting around people, they're just gonna hold back until they're the last couple guys to go out to give themselves space. Like people have kind of figured out where they can feel.
Adam Goldstein has the off the bus intimidation. He is not worried about that. He's gonna rumble in and just say like, no, I'm gonna swing full bore.
Especially with those luscious locks running
God.
around freaking Soule Park.
He took it off though. He got the haircut. He literally looked like a Greek, he looked like a Greek mythological like god with his like luscious locks.
There's a whole bunch of lettuce out of the top of that head.
And everybody's like, he's just pounding the golf ball. It's like, whoa.
I played with him on the practice round and can attest to that.
But Muni Madness is great. I mean, you know, I
This is your baby, Big C.
I personally got to end Muni Madness by hitting a couple hole winning putt. Just saying.
You did.
Highlight of my weekend.
Did you dance like a bird? You didn't.
I did
but,
not.
You know.
I didn't have a bird meme created after me either, Ashton. So.
No.
So we're settling on. So we're decided that was a bird you were trying to imitate.
I think it was an eagle.
Okay.
Like the inspiration was the Soule Big Bird. I mean, Troy, it's not good.
He is from Atlanta. I mean, he whipped out.
I don't know what that
Should have
means.
been the dirty bird.
It's the dirtiest bird.
Oh. I thought you were saying Eagles. I was like, that's Philadelphia, and Philadelphia can suck it.
For context for everybody.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles, Chris.
No,
Another
I
photo
don't think
for
they have
Pat's
a bird
Fly,
like
Eagles,
the
fly.
dirty bird does in
okay.
Atlanta.
I was like, Philadelphia have birds. I'm like, they're the Eagles. They're the. Oh my god.
But yeah, Ashton
God.
sank
Fever dream.
I don't even know how long it was, but it was an impressive putt. And
Well, because we all had that same exact putt in best ball earlier that day.
And I left it
Literally,
super short.
like to the foot, and both Dash and I are standing next to each other at Muni Madness. We're like, he's gonna make this. He's gonna make it because we all know exactly what it's gonna do.
And just hit it.
Sure
Just
enough,
get it there.
Yeah.
And best
Well,
ball left
so
like
for
6 feet short.
For context for everybody, the crazy thing about Muni Madness is every hole is $1, and the first birdie that's in wins the hole, unless somebody birdies on top of them, and then we move on. So now that hole carries over. So you go from messing with everybody, wanting to do anything you can. You basically, the only thing you can't do is touch them, and you can't block their line. But you go from that to now everybody's on the same team. So when Ashton makes this putt, it saves us all $1, and everybody erupts when it's a second birdie. Rick and I call it second birdie high. It's the best thing ever. Like you can't beat it.
I'm gonna have to call somebody out. I had to be a rules official here, and I should have let Dom re-hit a putt. Producer Jack, did not do the non-touching. Okay, Spinal.
I was like, I thought he needed to go to the bathroom or
It's
something. No, just
Dom was
Let me
hitting.
I'm touching all the interactive props in my office.
Let me just
today.
perform this drive-by on Jack.
No, but Dom was hitting a putt on 9 right before I hit my winning putt, and Jack leaned up against him while he hit the putt. Dom missed the putt and looks at Jack and goes, "Are you serious?" And I had to step in and I was like, "Jack, you have one rule: you can't touch the person while they're putting." You can't
This is important. So you decided to not rule on it when you won money. That's fascinating.
No.
I'm really glad you called this out. This is interesting.
I yelled at Jack, but then I hit my putt.
Are we gonna call this a
Mini
league?
Madness player? It's a wild. Hey, Ashton, that's
Muni Madness
Dallas.
player. Don't hate the player.
Dallas.
Hate the game.
That's Dallas.
If you ain't
God, he sounded like
ain't
Kevin from
trying,
The Office
guys.
there, and I love it. And that is Dallas. Oh
man.
my god.
I did win money. I feel semi-ashamed. I'm
No,
sorry,
you don't.
Dom.
Get the fuck
And
out of here,
I-
because you don't
yeah,
feel
don't
bad at
feel
all.
ashamed at all. I took your money, Dom.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel terrible that the burgers are 4-0.
I
I feel
took money from
terrible.
the nicest person in the field, but sometimes you
Dom?
gotta be ruthless once in a while.
I think when Dom shows you the other side of the coin, he's like Harvey Dent. It's like this is Dom when this is Dom. Well, I've said actually, Dom, you haven't heard this before. I'm not trying to talk behind your back. I've said Dom is Ness from Nintendo. Like he's like this little like cartoon character. It's like hi, and then he does a super move and just like pulls out a hammer, just like smashes you in the face. Like that's Dom. Like at first he was like a cartoon character, and then it's like you get on that guy's bad side, and he's gonna pull out some knives.
Oh, but Muni Madness. So I had to call out Jack on that, but I guess I also
Just call him out.
on-
That's important. Just
Yeah, I
call
was
him
gonna
out
say.
while
Call
still
them out,
lining
but
your
not-
pockets.
not really.
Yeah,
I
for
had
sure.
to.
Call them out, not really.
But then, after Muni Madness, we all get to sit down and kind of conversate and talk about our day and our rounds. And
Shout
I
out
think
to
that's
Hussey,
all-
second year. He's brought some of his wine for after Muni
Fantastic.
Madness to
Delightful.
sample. Fantastic wine. So shout out Christopher.
Oh, thank you.
This
Thank
isn't a
you.
paid sponsorship by Hussey's Winery either.
Oh, thank you.
If they do want to sponsor us.
I think in some way, come out of his paycheck. So don't sponsor us, Hussey.
But I think that's also ending it with Muni Madness and then going inside, getting dinner, and being able to, really chat
So
with
tired.
everybody.
So
it,
tired.
it makes the whole thing kind of just come around. And then by the time we're all done with dinner and drinks, I think not one person stays up or does anything besides go back to their place and crash as hard as possible. Because match play is a beast on singles day. I think singles for me is the only morning I have anxiety of the entire week. I don't know why. It's just you're mono a mono. It's worth an entire point. There's
They're all worth an entire point.
no when you're
No, I'm trying to be a dick. It's like, what do you mean?
no. There's more points on the line. Individual
Yeah.
thing matters more
Yeah.
when you're with the team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I was gonna say, what if that was the issue for Chris's strategy? He's like, I thought all these were half points. I've been building a team for half points. No.
The money ball angle.
Yeah. So Chris is telling him to like sack
He does
bunt.
good, he gets on base.
Chris just no more sack bunts on the hot dogs.
No, but I think there's more on the line on singles day.
Yeah.
It matters more. There's 16 points completely that are on the line, and even if one team is down by 8-9 points, it can flip very quickly.
Yeah. Actually, 18 points because we had 36 this year. Yeah. So even more.
But I think that's the best thing to end it with. Because there's just it could go either way. Watching every single group come in one at a time is really, really fun. I'm gonna be honest, I will never put myself as the last group ever. There's too much. I don't want everybody watching me. Too much pressure. Not doing it.
And this like giving the other GM like trade secrets. Like we'll never trade a prospect from 4 years ago.
I did it last year, and I absolutely hated it. So, not ever doing it. I organized this tournament. It's not going to happen.
Okay, good to know.
I
The
got
buck stops here.
Thumb on the scale. Firmly.
Yeah. No, it's the buck will be handed off, Troy. It's like no, like here's no buck for me.
Nope, not doing it. But yeah, I think. What do you guys think? Singles, like, out of all the rounds that we play, what would you say is the most intense in
Singles.
the tournament?
Yeah, singles.
Yeah.
Singles definitely has the potential to be, for sure. I mean, you could make an argument for alt shot depending on like where you end up putting each other. Like it could be a pretty stressful day or stressful round,
I
but
think
yeah,
it's more
singles.
stressful with your partner. Like you could be upset
Yeah,
with your partner in that one, where this is you have no one to be upset with but yourself.
yeah. No, that's a good point. But yeah, no, it's definitely the most anxiety that I usually have every year is going into singles, depending on like where like the overall matches are. And the last 2 years, it seems like it's been relatively close going into Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing is like, at this point, 4 years, it's only going to continue. I mean, I think that like people's records matter, like they just do. But I mean, I think that like there's only a certain level of ownership you can have in alt shot or best ball, right? Where it's like your Sunday singles record is kind of like, I don't know, like it's just you. There's not like a, our people don't do this, but it's not like, oh, we were doing great on my alt shot shots. My partner was like spitting the bit, like you can't, whatever. It's like a cake. The ingredients are all together. Where it's like, and also too, just like selfishly, kind of, Chris, I do know what you're talking about. Where it's like, I don't want to like I don't want people to look at the thing and say, oh, Ashton lost 6-5, right? Like I don't want that. Like I do not want to have everyone look at the thing and be like, what's going on there? So yeah, I think that's definitely the anxiety. Is like it feels more personal because it is.
And I think there's less fun being had in the groups as well, especially if the matches are turning.
Not in
Like
a negative way.
in multiple, like I was down 3-4 in my match, and then we were tied on 9, and I took him dormy into 17, and between 9 and 16 there was no conversating between me and Marcus. We were not talking. There was no good shot, bad shot. Like there was no congratulating each other. It was if you lost the hole, you were already in your cart before the other person finished the putt. Like
It's a business meeting. It's a business meeting.
it was business time. We had our business socks on.
That's hell yeah. Also, Chris, I have to be consistent. Conversating is not a word, but I love it. It's it's conversing. It's conversing.
We had a lot of strategery in these matches.
I've got my partnership socks on.
Fuck Webster Dictionary. It's the Reinhardt Dictionary, sir.
I love the Reinhardt Dictionary. Conversate. Hell yeah.
But I think that's the one I think fun but also stressful thing, and then you end it, and like me and Marcus ended up tying the match, and like I was irritated because I was able to flip it, and then I had an opportunity on 17 to close it, and I didn't, and he played 18 better than I did, but it's just like we were able to shake hands, and I've known Marcus for a long time. We walked off and, shot the shit for the next hour before we all had to leave. Like, we are deep in it, but we're also, well, hello. Sorry, guys. John's dog decided to get in the picture.
Can we add that to the soundboard? Big Chris going,
yeah.
oh, hello.
Pax, clip that.
Chris sees a hot dog at the turn. Oh, hello.
I do every time. You got to speak to it, Ashton.
Chris, have you ever told us your thoughts? I see Troy's face. Yeah. Hashtag speak to the hot dog. How about Soule Park's? Do you approve of Soule Park's hot dog? No, thumbs down for again. This is a podcast, so use your words. But
you know my thoughts. Ashton's heard this many times. Do not cut a hot dog in half.
Oh yeah.
Don't grill it.
You don't want to get all that grill flavor all over it.
I want the juices to be encapsulated within my dog. So when you cut it open, you're just gone. You released everything. You ruined it. And they've got a great bun, great condiment selection. Don't cut my hot dog in half.
We should ask Kelsey to have a Big C special that's just like broiled instead of grilled like that.
Or I should just be like
Wrapped in a
cut it
paper
half.
towel and throw in the microwave for like 30 seconds.
I could just be like, roll it around on the grill for me. You don't need to cut that thing in half. Just roll it on around there for a little bit.
Troy John,
corner over there.
what are your hot dog opinions? Are you guys pro con, or how do you like them if you like them?
I like the
ketchup,
Soule hot
man.
dog, but as far as condiments, ketchup, mustard, onions. That's about it.
Sautéed or raw?
Either or. I think Soule does them grilled, and they're pretty
Yeah.
damn good.
do.
I recently
Grilled's where it's at.
tried I replicated a Seattle style hot dog at home, which has sautéed onions and cream cheese, and that is don't knock it till you tried it. That's all I'm saying.
It ain't
Cream
bad.
cheese?
I still think.
But also,
Chicago,
it's more of like a bratwurst than a hot dog. So
I still think Chicago does it best. I think Chicago dogs.
They have no
are the best
ketchup,
dogs
though.
in the country.
But they have no ketchup. Are you okay with that?
You don't need ketchup.
Yeah, not when you got celery salt, pepperoncinis, pickles, mustard.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Chicago dogs. I'm a fan. Troy, what about you? What's your hot dog take, Troy, if any?
I am just at Soule. I don't think their hot dog's very good, but I will take all of the rest of their food in place of that. Easily,
Their
'cause
burger, on
rest
the
of
other
their
hand,
food-
Oh, their burger's phenomenal.
undefeated,
their
you might
buffalo chicken sandwich is
Yes.
say. Yeah.
okay. But yeah, their hot dog kind of sucks.
But what's your take on hot dogs in general? Like, do you like hot dogs?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
100%. Just ketchup for me. I just like it plain and simple. I
Wow,
hate mustard.
Interesting.
Can't do mustard.
Not
any
a real
kind.
guy.
Any kind. Nope, none.
Wow.
Can't do it. So I just do it simple.
Interesting.
Sometimes add a little peppercini or something on there. I'm fine with that. But
Pepperoncinis roll. Interesting.
peppercinis on everything rolls.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I should say for the record, I like hot dogs, but like for me, it has to be like they like literally like have to be grilled. I think it's a nostalgia thing. My dad used to do like hot dogs on the grill as a kid. Chris, the way you like them, where it's like the bun is steamed, like it's all just out of the broiler. Like it's like I mean, it's like it's like I can't do it. I just put a paper towel in my. We're doing a
These
lot of
props.
visuals here. Yeah,
I was gonna say Carrot Top over here.
Okay.
Hey, you're bad mouthing every person that loves a hot dog in New York. I mean, it's steamers all day. That's how you.
I mean, I
Before
pretty
or
aggressively
after the hot dog? After the hot dog, there's a steamer. Is that what you're saying?
No, you put the dogs in a steamer, and that's what cooks them. It cooks in a steamer.
Well, I don't. By the fourth day of visiting New York, I have anxiety. I hate New York sports. I've almost puked on the. I got COVID in New York. I almost puked on the subway, so it's like I like to go to New York for like 3 days, but I don't really care about like pissing off people from New York. Like,
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I thought I had a battle. That wasn't a good
also
battle.
Juan Soto is like bummed about being a Met, and he's there for like the next 40 years. How fucking awesome is that? I
think
fucking
the
love
ultimate-
that.
The ultimate
Running a
move,
base
though,
is really hard.
I know it's so hard to try when you're making $500,000 a game. It's really tough.
ultimate condiment move that any golf course could do, though, is shredded cheddar cheese as a topping. That is the ultimate move. Shout out Wild.
Here's a little add on to that. Do ketchup, shredded cheese, and tapatio sauce on top of that.
Ooh.
Super good.
A little
Super
tapatio.
good.
Tapesh.
I'm gonna conversate as ate the tapatio.
All right, fellas. Do you guys got any clothing remarks before we end this guy?
I don't know. What was everybody's favorite?
Yeah,
one?
no. Just to be fair, Troy did beat me in singles. I played like ass, and he was really solid. Kept it between the mustard that he hates and the mayo that I don't know his opinion on. He kept it right in between that.
Mustard mayo's great. Mayo
I
haters,
had
I
a
don't
really
get.
bad case of the lefts. So, but
Yeah.
we had a great time. It was awesome to see. That was kind of one of the side benefits of me kind of being out of our match. Like by the, I don't know, I think it got closed out on like 14 or 15. But then the other match that was in the group between Doc and Bean was going back and forth and was so exciting that I was like, it was fun for me as a spectator to kind of watch that.
Yeah.
So
we
that
had
was,
we had like
Who won that
all-time
match?
vibes.
I think they tied, right?
Doc,
Or
No, I
Doc.
think Doc ended up winning it.
Oh
Okay.
no, he did. Okay.
But it came down to like the end, I think.
Bean had to win 17 to push. He was Dormy on.
And
Yeah,
he
I love these
really,
matches
he came
coming.
really freaking
It's
close
awesome.
because he hit a hell of a shot on 17 from the trees.
Oh yeah, yeah,
God, I love these matches coming out at the end. That's so exciting.
yeah. I like to your point earlier. I felt like every match that I was in. I mean, like our match, dude. I was like physically tired after our match, Ashton. Like,
Dude, we were
I mean,
so
like,
locked in.
that was such a battle. It was
Yeah,
it was
it really
seriously a
was.
battle. And same thing in alt shot. Same like even John. Our I mean, you got us back to all square on 9 after you put it to what 2 inches on 9.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, somebody
you
was eating on the
stuffed it.
balcony when I was walking by. They're like, "Oh man, I wish you could have seen how that shot from up here."
But then
Love
you
that
know,
back pin on 9.
we were able to, or I was able to come back and win on the back 9. But like all of the matches, really in reality, were really good. Like
Yeah.
everything was
Yeah.
super solid. Everybody played pretty well. You know, there wasn't anybody that was like fully lost that weekend, which was cool.
No,
Yeah.
and
No,
also
no
just to tell people too, like, this year, if I remember correctly, 34 people, most of the field was between a 0 and a 12. And then we had Joe, my buddy Joe, who's a 22, and then Andy, who's a 28. It's also about to tell you, Andy won 2.5 points. So someone who's a 28 handicap came in and literally Nick, they played best ball together. And I saw they won, and I was like, I asked Nick, and Nick's like, he just carried me like all day. So it's just cool. The point is, if people are looking to come and they're like, hey, I'm like a 17, you keep talking about this JD guy who's hitting it like 400 yards. Like, yeah, I mean, Andy won 2.5 points. Anybody can come and compete.
I think that's actually who I overheard talking on Sunday, saying
Yeah.
how good of a time they had and that they're like definitely coming back. And so that's
Yeah.
awesome. A first timer, highest index in the group, and
Yeah.
he
Well,
never
also-
had to feel like he was
Yeah.
like, under any pressure or he had like was not gonna deliver anything. And
And it was so sick. Nick was telling me too, because I didn't play with Andy. He said that Andy was just like a total grease ball, where like he wasn't hitting his driver very well. So basically, into like pretty much every single hole, he was hitting like I think 5-wood, and he's hitting these like chippy, bunty, like old school, like link style, like 5-woods up there, and making a lot of like 5 for 4s, and that is so sick, right? And he doesn't play that much golf. He's a 28 handicap. He's kind of just getting back into it. But I think again that's kind of the format and the vibe of like just Nick was like he was just so good at finding a way to get it in the hole. And that's not something you hear from like a 28, but he's doing it by like hitting chippy 5-woods from like 160. But that's awesome. Like that's again a kudos to Soule. Like Andy was in the group ahead of us at Rustic and he walked off and like it looked like someone had like punched him in the face and there was nothing left. Like there was nothing. I was like, "Did you have fun?" He's like, "Not really." I'm like, this is not the golf course. Like
Yeah.
force carry." But he had a blast at Soule. So Soule's a really good canvas for like. Shout out to JD. JD shot 66 in the practice round. So like a good player can go get it, but then someone like Andy, who's like a 28, can like grease ball it around and win 2.5 points. And that's where Soule is such a great venue.
And speaking of Andy, this is kind of a story with Andy and Nick both being friends. It's funny. You know, Nick was new to golf when he first came to his first cookout. After that cookout, he came and got fitted by me. Started playing like 60, 70 rounds a year and like broke his wrist multiple times. Like he just
Hit balls to the point of ripping his tendon like multiple times in his
Yeah.
wrist.
like
Shout out
Dude,
San Diego
the
Mats.
dude got
Yeah.
full addicted, and Andy walks up to me and asks me for my number so that he can get fitted for golf clubs because he
Yeah.
wants to be way better next year when he comes back for the cookout. And that made me so happy and so excited because
It's so full circle.
our tournament, for a guy that played very recreationally, might have drank more beers and played holes when he went out and played, like wasn't really like an avid golfer. Now is like, I want to be better for this specifically. It like gave him a reason to love golf
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And just going back to the point, like, I mean, it's about the golf, but it's not about the golf. But the golf that it's about is like the best and the most fun
Yeah.
So fun.
you'll ever have with the best group of people. So
All for
Yeah.
the Bachelor.
All first Bachelor.
Next year,
First Bachelor.
all for
And I will say, I guess, so I want to give a quick shout outs to people who helped us. And then what I want to do before we go is just do like everyone's kind of parting thoughts. But for one of the shout outs, Patch, our boy Patch did an amazing job on the shirts, but also nobody asked him to make this, but for the YouTube audience, he also made this, which is so large, I don't even know what to do with this, like in my office, but he made this, which the only knock is like it's New
hang it up
Orleans,
in the rafters.
Yeah. This is the very small apartment in San Francisco, but shout out to Patch. But I guess just to quickly run down the list of people who deserve credit.
That should be your new shower curtain.
I mean, it pretty much could be. Just wanted to say, Keith, thank you for trusting us to do this. Like, this couldn't happen unless you let us try. Kelsey, thank you so much for like the help with food this year. Not that it was bad in the past, but it was noticeably better this year. Thanks to the Lo-Fi crew, as you said, it's a family business. Steve and his whole family were amazing. Ojai Valley Brewing, thank you for having us. Also, a shout out this year, I want to say, I've kind of dragged them a little bit in the past. Unknown Golf, it turns out if you actually try to do live scoring not the night before at 2 a.m., it'll work better. So Unknown Golf was flawless. I think I'm proud of that this year.
And very responsive to any issues that we had. Like very fast.
Literally like got on the phone with me and cleaned everything up. So I think live scoring was a big pro. So shout out to them. And then again, shout out to Pash for kind of doing all of our logos and stuff and just being a homie. So yeah, the big thing, just to say the last thing is I've not looked.
Golf for always giving us.
Yeah.
Oh, Matchstick Golf, yeah.
Yeah, Dane, really
Awesome
appreciate you,
markers.
man. The barbecue potato chips. And then the big thing is, I just tell everybody, hopefully you've seen it, but like we take your feedback like really seriously. So it's like a lot of the stuff that you've seen change or things that you've said you want to change. So just know that we're going to be in the lab kind of looking at what people have asked for and making kind of thoughtful changes. So more updates later. But just wanted to kind of shout out all the people who have helped make this happen and all the people traveling. There's a lot of people I know we do, but you know there was a Seattle contingent this year. I just know it's a lot of time, effort, energy to make it happen. I mean, Andy came from fucking Dallas, woke up at his flight got rerouted. I think he woke up at like 2 a.m. Pacific on Thursday to get there. So we just appreciate the effort. But yeah, why don't we just kind of go around Robin, parting thoughts? Anything you want to say? John, you want to start us off?
Yeah, just as a local, I just feel like a lot of pride anytime I bring like a group of people coming into Soule Park, and I get nothing but amazing feedback from the staff and from Keith and from everyone at Soule Park whenever they see our group rolling in during the weekend. They're always amazed at how respectful we are for the course, for how big a group we are, for how passionate we are for the course, and it's just an awesome thing to see, and it's really, it feels good to get to hear that like reflected back to you after the fact. When I go back there to play in men's club events or something like that, I hear the bartender or the waitress is asking me, oh, when's your group of friends from the Bay Area coming back? And so it's just to know that we've built a really good reputation and relationship with everyone at Soule Park, and I just am really excited to just keep growing that. And this event is awesome. It's the best weekend of the year. And also, I just want to give a quick shout out to JD for alt shot. I had agreed beforehand that I was just going to play his ball throughout the entire round to avoid confusion, and now it's my new favorite ball. So shout out to JD. Got me a new gamer.
Is it the TP5? He's trying to get me to switch to it too.
It is. I love that.
Interesting.
Thing. I hit three. I hit 3 of my longest drives on for that specific hole on Soule, like that morning.
Well, you know what it is, John? It's because you're a low spin player and that's a little spinnier, so that is perfect for you.
Yeah. And then I did it again in my locale match at Olivis. I hit a couple drives, and I ended up in some spots that I've never been in before. So, shout out JD.
Golf Dad strikes again.
#GolfDad.
Mr. Big, final thoughts.
Oh, I just want to thank everybody that's come to any of our events. We've got our fall event coming up. Final touches on that right now. Literally, just finished up some stuff before I got on here, and we're gonna be getting that out. The community has grown dramatically. Every year we have more new and new people that come in. Other people going through life events that have not been able to make it every year. And so one thing me and Ashton were talking about is there's going to be a time where there's going to be no more weddings. We're going to all stop having kids and getting married, and these life events are going to kind of stop, slow, or they're going to start slowing down. We're going to have to start shutting the door quick on invites, because I think we counted it. We're up to like a little over 80 people that have attended our events. 80 different people. And so, with the Ryder Cup style tournaments, we're going to cap them at 40. So yeah, if you're coming in the future and you see the invite in your inbox, send that deposit. Send that deposit to lock your spot, because it's going to fill up quick.
Yeah, great event.
Mr. Troy.
Camaraderie. Troy.
Yeah, I mean, basically echo all of the stuff you guys said, but I think the coolest thing for me each year is you get done and you feel like you literally have 30 some odd new best friends, like 100%. People who I would have never met in my whole entire life, obviously just geographically, none of us are near. John and I are, and a handful of us other guys are local, but like John said, everybody comes in, they rave about the golf course. That's all great, and it makes our hearts full. That's awesome. But now all of a sudden, I have all these people that like all text, and we talk throughout the whole entire year, and then you have this big reunion every year, and it really is such a special feeling that I know you guys feel the same way. Like, we're just blessed to have that opportunity. It's so hard to make friends as an adult. It's so hard to have, connection with people. You go and spend freaking like, I don't know, 48 hours together, basically nonstop after we're all done with all this with, a handful of guys, and it's hard to not be super close with them, So yeah, I think that's really just the neatest thing ever with this is you get done and your heart's extra full when you're done, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really hard to articulate, I think, what the cookout means to me, especially because just thinking about it, I think one of my favorite things every year is afterwards, shout out to you guys for all the content you capture. I should have led with that, of like having y'all on board and just being like, I think what's so special is like, I forgot who it was, but somebody in the chat, I think it was Jeff, was like, it's so amazing to be able to like we're all still living in the high, but then be able a week later to like put yourself right back into like, oh, like I feel like I'm back at that picnic table. I feel like I'm back on that fifth hole. It's just really special. So I appreciate you guys doing that. But one of my favorite things is always like I have a conversation with my dad afterwards, because I don't think people remember this, and honestly sometimes I forget. All this started honestly because my dad and his buddy Johnny came on, like, I don't know, like our 10th podcast.
No, like first 5.
I remember we were so early. My stepmom was like vacuuming, and you could like hear, it's like like the vacuum is like banging up against, my dad's talking, and I'm like, Dad, like, you live in like a 7-bedroom house, like, can you not vacuum? Like, I love her to death. Like, but just like it all started with that. These guys have been, doing this for 40 years, right? Like, they're to the point where they're actually retiring some of their tournaments because they're too old, which is kind of a sweet sentiment. But like what I thought is like we were gonna do a variation of that, and as I've said, shout out to you, Big, because like you were the one who said let's do it. I was like, nobody's gonna come. We're not ready for this, and I just am I feel bashful saying this, but like I'm just like flabbergasted and touched at kind of what this has become, not just in the camaraderie, but like the way to kind of really kind of remember Pat and the connection and the community. Because the hard part is like, as we've kind of shared in the past, I kind of have sometimes I'm like a love hate relationship. Like it's super fun to do the pod, but there's times where it's like, oh my god, we have to record this podcast, whatever. But like, I think the biggest thing is like the cookout is like everything we want to stand for. Like, as we've kind of talked a lot, the six of us, about like what we want this to be, what we want the logo to look like, what we want the motto to be, whatever. What it boils down to is like the cookout is the physical manifestation of what we want this to be. And I think to me that is just so special. And to your point, Troy, I think the thing that's so awesome is like the fact that, I mean, that for people who don't know, like what once you go, you get added to our Instagram group. There's like 60 messages a day in there, year round, all the time, going, and it's everything from like weird hot dog memes, shout out to Bean, to people being like super supportive. Like, you know, for example, I love like somebody's like happy birthday, and you have all these grown men saying happy birthday, and like that's not, you know, like I'm not mad about it, but like my birthday was on Friday, and like half my coworkers, my actual team, didn't tell me happy birthday. It's like, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like, because our world is so disconnected. Like, I work with these people, but our world is like so disconnected. You have like 30 guys telling Doc, you know, happy birthday. And, you know, even people being like, hey, like, you know, Bean, I just kicked some guy's ass in singles match, and supportive. And I don't know. I just think that this is the manifestation of what we want Municipals to be. And I think that, like, for us, everything we do, everything we put out is like with the cookout as being kind of our North Star. And it's so much of how this started, like what you'll see in our future content. And hopefully you've seen it, is like, this is not about me and Chris at all anymore. But what's special about the cookout is it is me and Chris's relationship, where Chris is like, I got this big idea, and I'm like, we shouldn't do that big idea because we can't make it happen. And then we work together to make something that's really, really special. And then by adding y'all, it's got, you know, y'all's content, whole new level, right? Like Jack's organization, whole new level. You know, all like, and so the six of us working together have made it something really special. And I just hope that everything we do, I think we've talked about this, I hope everything we do we're as proud of as this event, because this is where it's at. And I wish that we could just do this every weekend. We'd be really tired, but
I would say, well, speaking of that one, I played golf with Bean on Sunday, and he called Doc in the morning because he couldn't stand up, and Doc walked him through stretches so he could get out.
For real?
No,
I didn't know if that was a joke in the chat.
Shout out to
No.
Doc.
he actually got on FaceTime and posted it up, and he walked him through yoga stretches to get him going so he
Oh
could
my
come play
God.
Wildwood with me. But also,
Hell yeah.
speaking of, I've always had big ideas, but my ideas are always community driven. You know, first idea of, you know, posting in a community chat to see how many sicko weirdos during COVID wanted to get in a van with me
Down by the
and
river.
go on a golf trip. And
Windowless
then,
fan.
To be honest, you better be careful.
you better be careful. Big weirdo coming to say,
You want to conversate? I want to conversate.
you know, and then creating the, you know, with getting the idea and wanting to execute with you the first cookout and expanding to where we've gotten now. I think I just like seeing smiles and making people happy, and seeing people enjoy things. And you know, I do it for myself as well, selfishly, because I enjoy doing these trips and being around you guys. And so that's why I love to plan these and have these wild harebrained ideas, because I just want to hang out with you guys more. That's why I plan things. I just want to see your faces more often.
Yeah, but it's so crazy. I was just thinking about this. Like, I've told this story before, but literally, like, Hussey found John's content on YouTube and was like, if I was ever going to be a content creator, sorry, Hussey, he's like, this is what I would do. And then I remember, I vividly remember Liz and I were, it was January of 2021, and we're on the beach in Hawaii. We had a couple people drop out. I literally messaged on Instagram and I was like, hey man, you have no idea who I am. We have no mutual connections. My friend thinks your YouTube is cool, and like we're doing this at Soule Park, and I think you play there. Like, do you want to come? And John came to the practice round and kind of hung out, got to know us a little bit. And like the fact that, you know, for like, you know, these years later, it's like we're buddies and we've gone to band and like we're doing this thing together. It's just awesome. Like it's just so like there's no world in which we should be friends. There's no world.
John dug us and then was like, yo, I've got this boy Troy and Jeff and all of these.
When I remember Troy, 2 years ago, Troy, you know, so kind. He's like on Instagram, messaged me. He's like, hey man, like, I'd love to come to practice round. I can't play. And then we kind of hit it off immediately. And it's like the same kind of thing. It's just like you're reaching out through social media and being like, there seems to be some alignment here. Do you want to come hang out? And then you kind of really find your tribe where it's like, yeah, I love everybody, but like I really love, like, you know, the reason this podcast is fun is because I love, this is an excuse to talk to you guys, right?
Well, like Ashton, you and I literally said it on freaking Friday practice round. I like came up to you and was like, dude, I haven't physically seen you since Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I talk to you every freaking day, which is super sick. But like, it's such a cool feeling to like have that excitement to see somebody that you talk to all the time, which is really weird. Like it's a neat experience that I don't think a lot of people understand.
No.
It's like different levels of intimacy, you know?
Yeah. To your point, Ashton, though, and this is kind of outside of the cookout, but just as a whole, I think being a little bit on like the creator side of golf, and John, you know this just as well as I do, it's really interesting, like the whole community of golf, outside of like the crazy influencer status type stuff, but like everyone is super welcoming. Put yourself out there. If you think somebody's cool, send them a message. Hey dude, I really love your stuff. Whatever. Ask them to play golf. Who cares? It may not work out, but there's so many opportunities for people to go get connected through social media. All of us are a perfect example of that. And then you can go create your own type of cookout or come to ours or whatever. But it's wild how welcoming this whole entire community is across the board. And all you have to do is kind of, you know, be vulnerable a little bit.
Say what up.
Yeah, say what's up.
And while you're at it, like and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button, baby.
Subscribe, you know.
Big Chris versus Grant Horvath coming next week. Hey, Chris, I'm going to teach you how to hit it a little bit farther, okay? You're going to hit it a little bit farther after I work out with you, okay?
I can't believe we have Scotty Scheffler on the podcast this week.
Oh yeah, I just I ate a turkey sandwich for lunch. That's great, right, Meredith?
No, fun story too is I told Poosh that we've sent the invite twice to Tron and been left on red, and he goes, "Not anymore, not anymore. You will. This was one of the best events I've been to." I was like, "All right, Poosh, I'm gonna hold you to that. We'll see if we get those boys out to one."
Damn, putting Tron on blast on the way out the door.
Tron and Poosh on blast, but
hey, there was no blasting on Poosh. He was stoked about the event and wanted other people to be stoked about it.
Hey, if you want to blast on Poosh, that's for you. I'm not.
whoa.
This is behind the paywall stuff.
Keep it in.
You've lost the plot. You've lost the plot.
We're calling it.
Okay, well, to quote our guy Fabian, thanks for coming out, everybody. We appreciate it. We appreciate you coming out, everybody. But thank you, and
shout out Fabian's 6-iron on 16.
Shake.
Ooh, shot.